Do you often find yourself aspiring to be a better leader? Leadership is an undeniable powerhouse skill in the business arena. But the journey to leading others effectively begins with leading oneself. Now, many aspiring leaders, they mistakenly focus on enhancing their charisma, persuasion, and impact. However, real leadership starts within. Now, for a long time in business, I thought I was a leader because I had a team and I had a fancy title. However, I wasn't a great leader. I wouldn't lead by example in everything I did. I didn't embody the high standards I set. I'd react emotionally and I lacked resilience. I communicated poorly and avoided conflict. It wasn't until I embraced self-leadership that I saw a turnaround, not just in my career, but also in my personal growth as a leader. In fact, my success is a direct correlation of my growth as a leader. Your team, community, and family need you to be the best leader you can be. This starts with you and self-leadership. So what are the keys to self-leadership? I'm going to share 5 essential ones that transformed my leadership style and could revolutionize yours too. The first one is intentional. Great leaders never leave anything to chance. They are crystal clear about their vision, mission, and values, and they ensure that all their actions are aligned with those. Arnold Schwarzenegger, in his book, Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life, says that the only difference between happy and successful people and those that aren't is the clarity of the picture they have for the future, the strength of the plan to get there, and whether they have accepted that the choice to make that vision a reality is ours and ours alone. Intentional leaders don't wake up feeling aimless or directionless, wondering what to do. Instead, they leap out of bed with purpose. They have clear, purposeful goals and objectives and ensure their calendar, activity, and decisions move them forward towards the accomplishment of them. Intentionality is not just about long-term goals though. It's about how you show up in the small moments, every meeting, every interaction. How do you want to present yourself? What energy do you want to bring? What emotions do you want to evoke? Nothing is reactive. They proactively plan, execute, and follow a deliberate course of action. Now, a simple practice that has helped me become more intentional is to ask myself before any meeting or commitment, how am I showing up? This question primes me to be intentional, prepared, and proactive. An example of an intentional leader is Oprah Winfrey. From her career decisions to her personal development endeavors, Oprah has consistently aligned her actions with her broader goals and values. Her commitment to self-improvement and her strategic approach to building her brand and business empire demonstrate how intentionality can lead to success and influence. You see, intentionality shines through everything you do. When people see that level of conviction and clarity in your actions, they can't help but be inspired by it. Now, the next key to self-leadership is self-awareness. I know I have many strengths, weaknesses, and biases. Understanding these aspects of myself has allowed me to leverage my strengths and navigate my weaknesses more effectively. Now, one of my first bosses was a brilliant visionary, but struggled with managing his temper. He would often explode with a tirade of abuse, profanities, and ridicule that would humiliate those that it was directed toward. I was on the receiving end on one occasion, and the result was my eventual departure from the company. This lack of self-awareness was a significant detriment to his leadership and the organization. Now, contrast this with another leader I worked with. She was aware of her tendency to be critical, so she actively sought feedback and worked to balance criticism with encouragement. This self-aware approach fostered a more positive and productive work environment. We are inherently emotional beings, and these emotions can both empower and hinder us. As a leader, understanding your emotional triggers is crucial. A JV partner of mine, despite his many talents, often let his emotions override his judgment. This not only strained relationships, but it also stifled his potential as an entrepreneur. Great leaders aren't just aware of their behavior, they understand its impact on those around them. They actively seek feedback to enhance their self-understanding and are not just receptive to it, they value and act upon it. To develop self-awareness, consider practices like journaling, mindfulness, and check-ins with trusted colleagues or mentors. Remember, self-awareness is an ongoing process, a journey that continuously shapes and refines your leadership style. One of the most significant advancements in my journey of self-leadership has been my commitment to self-reflection, the third key to focus on. Self-reflection involves regularly assessing your actions and their outcomes. For me, turning this into a ritual was crucial for developing the skill and ensuring its consistent practice. Now, I use the High Performance Planner by Brendon Burchard, which includes daily and weekly reflective journaling exercises. These help me understand my behaviors, actions, and identify blind spots. For example, through self-reflection, I realized my tendency towards indecisiveness and avoidance. Recognizing these weaknesses was the first step in addressing and improving them. So it's vital to reflect on both your successes and failures. Each experience offers lessons that can guide future actions, whether it's about course correction or doubling down on what is working effectively. Now, self-reflection will only be effective if you embrace humility and are open to personal growth. It can be confronting, but this is where true breakthroughs emerge. Reflective journaling works for me, but self-reflection isn't a one-size-fits-all process. Other ways to develop self-awareness are meditation, contemplative questions, or free writing. The key is to find a method that resonates with you and make it a regular part of your routine. In my experience, a particularly revealing moment came when I was reflecting on a conference that didn't go as planned. Through honest self-assessment, I identified key areas where I made ill-informed assumptions. Now, these insights were invaluable in reshaping my approach to future events. Ultimately, self-reflection isn't just about identifying weaknesses. It's about acknowledging strengths, refining skills, and growing as a leader. Now, whilst it might be initially daunting, the clarity and the personal growth it brings can be incredibly rewarding. The fourth key of self-leadership is self-regulation. Now, one of my most valuable skills in business has been the ability to compartmentalize. For instance, when facing personal challenges, I ensure that they don't affect my professional performance. Now, the way I developed this skill involved recognizing and labeling my emotions, using deep breathing to calm myself, shifting my self-talk to leave issues at the door, and really enforcing strict boundaries. For example, during stressful work periods, I avoid checking my emails or my phone during family time to prevent work stress from encroaching on those precious moments. Self-regulation is vital for managing emotions effectively, and compartmentalization is just one part of it. Another crucial part is resilience. The business world, much like life, is full of stress, setbacks, challenges. These situations can easily trigger negative emotions and lead to a downward spiral. Resilience means facing your adversity head on, dusting yourself off, and bouncing back. Now, it's a skill that can be honed by consistently exposing yourself to stress. Now, this doesn't mean overwhelming yourself, but rather gradually increasing your tolerance and ability to navigate through stressful situations. Two other methods that I personally find helpful to regulate my emotions are: number one, physical exercise. Tony Robbins says, that you can change your psychology by shifting your physiology. So hitting the gym or going for a run clears my mind and releases stress. The second one is gaining perspective. I often take a moment to reflect on the broader context of my life. Recognizing the many positives helps me see the challenges in their true scale. And they're usually much smaller than they initially appear. Self-regulation is about controlling your emotional responses to maintain a high standard of professionalism and personal well-being, no matter what life throws at you. Now, our last key to self-leadership is self-care. Now, I've spoken a lot about the importance of self-care in several videos because I truly do believe that there is a direct correlation between self-care and your ability to lead people. Now, there are several components to self-care, but at a minimum, it should absolutely include the following. First and foremost, exercise regularly. If you're strong, fit, and healthy, then you'll have energy, confidence, and stamina to be the best leader you can be. When I meet someone that is in good shape, I immediately know they have discipline, structure, focus. Number 2 is quality sleep. As a leader, you need to be vibrant, energetic, and have an enormous capacity for work and stress. You can only do this if you're prioritizing sleep. Number 3 is healthy food. You need to treat yourself like an athlete, and that means eating, hydrating, and supplementing like one. You can't put garbage into a high-performing car. And similarly, you can't put junk into a high-performing human. The last component of self-care is our relaxation techniques. Everyone needs to fill that cup up regularly. You need to decompress and prioritize activities that recharge your batteries. Now, this might be meditation, cold water immersion, massages, or reading, or even going for a walk. What you do is less important than the impact it has on you. You can't lead others unless you can lead yourself. There are 5 keys to self-leadership that you need to master if you want to magnify your impact both personally and professionally. Now, mastery is not a finite journey where you suddenly become a great leader and then the work stops. The opposite is indeed true. You need to prioritize these 5 areas daily, and you need to continually refine and develop them if you want to become the best leader you can be. Leadership is one of the most important skills to focus on if you want more in both your business and life. Now, you've got the blueprint to self-leadership, and it is your responsibility to implement and apply. And lastly, remember this: you have the power to shape your own destiny. Embrace these strategies and watch your profits soar.